Uh, looks like we are dance. It's been a little snowy around here. For most of us here in the southeast, we've been slowly shoveling our way out. Uh, maybe you saw a few of the pictures I put up of scenes from the Sunday long run. What's up, Abby? Long time no chat. But yeah, it's we got about, I think, 10 or 12 inches here in the area, kind of depending on where you live at. Luckily, I'm glad that I'm not back up in the mountains where I got about 20. So it looks like they're going to be snowed in for a while. But 10 to 12 down here will knock everything out. Kids have been out of school. The lady's been home for 3 days, which has been exciting, I guess you would say. Nice to have her home. Yeah, we got hammered. I kind of just assumed everybody else in the South, the East Coast kind of got hammered too, but looks like we caught the brunt of the storm. I never really looked at where the storm came from, but it's definitely unusual to get this much early. Ironically, most of our big snows always come in like February or March or something, but anyways, it shut everything down, a lot of the side roads. So we found out here in High Point recently that they don't plow residential neighborhoods, which is great when you get like 1 or 2 inches of snow and everything's fine after a day or two. But when you get 10 or 12, it doesn't really go anywhere on its own. So everything's just freezing and melting. It's great. I could probably ice skate down my driveway right now and through our neighborhood. It's awesome. It came all the way across from Texas Panhandle. Look at that. Michael Green coming through with the info. Big shout out to Michael Green. Fast Break Athletics, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Greatest running star on the planet. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so we're snowed in for a while. I was stupid and crazy enough to get out on Sunday and go for an hour and 48-minute run. I have no idea how far that was. It could have been 5 miles. I think it was a little further than 5 miles. More than likely, it was probably 14 or 15. But it was actually really, really fun. I had good energy the whole time. I, for some reason, was super stoked about running in it. It is kind of nice running in the fresh powder stuff. It was a little windy, so the stuff kind of blasted you in the face a little bit. But I don't know. I was the only person out. It was great. Yeah, Art, what's up? You just got your CBD from Cannathletics. That's crazy. Weird coincidence. I just got my new product too today as well. Actually, I need to get a better camera. It's on my wish list. Maybe Santa will bring me one. Mom and Dad. Actually, maybe that's something I could ask for Christmas, so you could actually see things. But yeah, I mainly just use it at bedtime. So for those of you that aren't aware, what we're talking about, here's a bottle of CBD oil. CBD oil is, if you'll give me one moment, it comes from hemp plants. And this is the brand that I use, and full disclaimer, they have signed on as a sponsor for B Hudge Nasty. Not Brandon Hudgens, but B Hudge Nasty. They are sponsors of B Hudge Nasty over on Instagram. But they are a CBD oil company that was started by a former professional runner that ran at Georgia Tech and for the Nike Farm Team. Some of y'all who are super running nerds might know who the Nike Farm Team is, but it's a friend of a friend, right? Hooked me up with the company, but I was looking for a product that could help with inflammation, headaches, sleep, and all that after years of, and this is going to make me sound like a hippy dippy, I'm not, but like I've had to take a lot of medication over the years. I've nuked my stomach and my gut bio. So I was looking for something that wasn't going to really have a major effect on that, because I do train really hard and often get aches and pains, but I try not to take ibuprofen and Motrin and Tylenol after taking so much of it for so many years. I mean, even dating back to like high school. Oh, your IT band hurts. Let's take 4 Motrin 4 times a day. You know, let's take 800 or 1,000 milligrams at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it'll go away. So dating all the way back to probably the time I was 14 or 15 years old, I've been dousing my body and not realizing dousing my body, dumping these things in my body, not realizing the effect that they were having and what the links that they're finding. And even though I know that it's not necessarily maybe related to my own condition, I'm just trying to be a better steward of my body. But they are finding more and more links between the immune system and the gut. And considering I've nuked my gut so much and I have a weird autoimmune disorder, I'm like trying to be a better steward of my body. And when you train really hard and you have a lot of aches and pains and you sometimes have problems sleeping because you have an anxiety problem, and you also don't take those medications anymore, I was trying to find something that was a little more holistic. So some fellow vasculitis patients I had seen had actually taken CBD, started doing a little research on it. And actually I'll be, there'll be a blog hopefully coming out soon that I wrote for Cannathletics. It just kind of explains like where they're at with all the research. They understand the mechanisms behind them. So they've looked at basically in a Petri dish and seen what happens when you introduce the product into cells. They've done it on some animals. The human trials are not quite there yet. A lot of that will change here, hopefully the next year or two, since hemp has been legalized through that farm bill that just passed Congress that we're waiting for our president to sign. Lord knows when he'll get around to signing it. He seems a little busy at the moment, I think. But anyways, I was looking for a product, and when you start looking for products, naturally a lot of CBD products are also lumped in with marijuana products, because the plants are cousins. The hemp plant and the marijuana plant are basically cousins. Hemp does not have any psychoactive properties, but it is really high in cannabinoids, which is great for inflammation and sleep and all the things that I just talked about, and can help alleviate a lot of those things. Plus, some people experience the relaxing calm. I don't really kind of notice that. I do know that it helps me stay asleep at night. I used to wake up a lot for some reason. I don't know why. I think after so many years of so many different issues, my body just doesn't rest well sometimes. And I was looking for something to help me sleep. And it's something that's so safe. I recommended it to my own mother. My own mother has started using it as well, and was using not just Cannathletics. You don't have to use that product, but I was searching for a product. The reason I got hooked up with that company is because I was searching for a product that I knew would guarantee that's 100% THC free. Because I do participate in a sport where they do drug tests, Michael Green, and this would pass the drug test. Michael Green, give me a little flack over on Twitter, which I'll get into in a moment. Had a picture of me taking some of this after a hard run, and compared me basically to Alberto Salazar, which fair enough. I'll take it. I'll take the gold medals that his athletes have too at the Olympic Games. But anyways, so CBD, they're finding more and more, the only thing that is technically FDA approved to treat is actually 2 rare forms of epilepsy. But like I said, I think a lot of that will be changing. They understand the mechanisms of how it works in the body or how it interacts on cells specifically, but the human trials kind of aren't quite there. But it's I don't want to say a foregone conclusion, but I think we're going to start see. I mean, it's a plant and stuff that have been used for hundreds of thousands of years. It's not guaranteed to pass a federal drug test. I guess so. But there is, it is not producing a factor that has THC. So, your poppy seed bagel could also cause you to fail a drug test technically as well. So, don't eat poppy seeds, I guess, before you have to take a test. But, as far as the legality of it, it's 100% legal. It's legal for sports. It's legal for the federal government. Um, uh, anyways, so I forgot the main question. Oh, you are. Art was asking, how do I use it? So I generally just take one little plop under the tongue at night, or put it in some tea. I like to drink some tea sometimes before I go to bed to kind of calm down as I read my little book and look all studious and try to act all smart. Put a little bit of it underneath my tongue and leave it there for like a minute and a half and go to sleep. You can take as much of it as kind of you want. I have tried it a couple times now after really, really hard sessions. My legs were aching and I want to take a nap. One of those being the 3-mile mountain climb I did with my boy Steven Anderson last weekend up Pilot Mountain. We climbed 1,200 feet in 3 miles. I don't know that we broke 8 minutes on one of those miles. I guess we had to break 8 minutes. It was 7 minutes we didn't break, maybe. I don't know, because we ran like 21 something up it. It was brutal. It was just a suffer fest. In fact, I passed Steven probably about 2 miles up it. We were running together. We started together. He dropped me early. I penetrated from the rear, came up from behind, snuck up on his shoulder, dropped him a little bit. It was just really, and it was really odd because we did not go to the top. Neither one of us had run it before, but we'd heard about it, so we didn't really know what we were getting into. So we were running up a road that we knew it had been told it was 3 miles. So we didn't know how high it was going to go. We didn't know the terrain well, so you're just suffering with no end in sight. You don't know where you're at. There's not mile markers or anything, so you're just trying to keep it together. Well, there's a half-mile section there where you gain about 600 of the 1,200 feet, and it's pretty brutal. So actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'll see if I can pull up my Strava log from it. I used my crappy old GPS on it that I had to hold in my hand the whole time because my watch band's broken. They don't make bands for those anymore. Thank you, Solius. But anyway, we ran up this really tough mountain, and it sucked. And where is that run at? Let's see if I can get a shareable link here. Copy the code below and paste it in your blog. No, I don't want that. Maybe we'll just try this. We'll see if this works. Anyways, so we take off up this mountain. I passed Steven about 2 miles up, and I'm thinking, man, if I get around one of these corners and I look over and he's walking, I'm going to stop and walk too, because this is too hard. This is so hard. My feet were barely moving, but Steven didn't walk, so I didn't walk. And when we got to the top and I laid down on the ground, which I rarely do after anything, because my dad taught me better. In fact, if my dad had been at the top, he would have told me to get up, that you're not that tired, get up. I used to hear that a lot after workouts. He never let us like kneel down or fall over or lay down. It showed weakness. That's what that Team Fort Mill used to do. They would lay down after races. They just like fly all over the line. But luckily, Papa Hudgens was not at the top of Pilot Mountain on Friday, because I would have gotten a stern talking to, and then made to feel tiny. No, not tiny, but I would have toughened up. I probably wouldn't have fallen over. But yeah, we got to the top, and the first thing Steven said was, I wanted to walk so bad. And I was like, dude, I was just thinking, if he stops and walks, I'm going to stop and walk. But we held each other accountable, and it was great. And we made it to the top. And because our coaches are crazy, we'll probably do it again at some other time. But hey, we got it done. We're getting better. And pushing each other and helping each other try to reach our goals. And that's pretty exciting. It's pretty fun. I love it. You will get me next time, maybe if we make it a little further. Yep. See, for everybody to see, this is how my father treated me when I was an athlete. It's how he treats all of his athletes. I was no different. He holds us to a very high standard. It's probably why we've been very good for a very long time. Part of it's obviously something in the water down there in Rock Hill, South Carolina. But the other part is having a good, consistent coach for like 30 million years down there. But yep. So this should be a character you play in your first movie, Papa Hudge. Hopefully I'm not that old. So I'll tell you guys a funny thing that's been happened to me recently. It hadn't happened in a while, but it was happening when I was substitute teaching. Some people would call me Coach Hudgens, and I'm like, no, that's my dad. But as I've started working with the High Point team and working with some younger athletes, at times they feel the need to call me Coach Hudgens, and it bothers me to my core. First off, I haven't earned that yet because I'm not. I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty high bar that the real Coach Hudgens set, so I can't go by Coach Hudgens. Anytime I've had to be in some situation where somebody needs to call me Coach something, it's normally like Coach in an explicative or a four-letter word or something really mean. But people have felt the need to start calling me Coach Hudgens, and it drives me up the walls. So tend to go by Coach Brandon some these days. So or just Brandon. Brandon's fine. You call me Coach, and Coach is fine, but the Coach Hudgens part is definitely it's definitely weird. But Michael Green, what up with that High Point team? Recruit times? What do you mean? Like, what should recruits run? What are we trying to recruit? We just had two. We did sign two. We've got 2 commitments already. Excuse me. I don't know how to use like the English language right now. We have 2 commitments right now. We got a kid from PA. I believe my brain's. I'm gonna have to look this up on the interweb here. From I keep wanting to say Downingtown, but that's not it. Lancaster, PA. What up recruit times? So recruit times, I mean, it kind of varies, but definitely sub 16 in the 5K is a good start for a guy. I'm not as familiar with the girls' times because I haven't helped with them as much, so I don't really know but I would definitely say a girl running under 19 minutes would be a big positive. 11:30 for 2 miles, probably for a chick. A guy, 10:40 to 10:30 at the bare minimum, probably as a junior right now. And then obviously the faster the better. The faster you are, the more money you're going to be able to get. It's really competitive, and especially on the men's side, definitely sub 4:30 in the mile as a junior. So looking to be, a kid that's going to run 4:20 low to 4 teens high is those are kind of the range kids that we're going for on the girls' side, low 5 minutes. But that's kind of what we're aiming to get and aiming what we're looking for. If you are a high school coach or if you are a high school athlete and you're looking to run at the next level, run at the college level, there's a place for you, no matter where, no matter your skill level. You can go do D3, NAIA, D2, D1. There is a place for you to go and have a good time and be part of a team. And there's a lot of those. It doesn't have to be a major one, the major Division I university, and you can go to the next level and continue to have a lot of fun as an athlete. And then D1's not for everybody. I actually had this conversation with a guy in the locker room the other day because he was talking about his daughter's roommate in college was like supposed to go on a scholarship for track, but ended up not doing it. I mean, it's a major time commitment, especially for a distance runner, because you're going to compete 3 seasons a year. You're going to get about a week break after cross country. And then your track season will end right about the time exams end in the spring. So you pretty much spend your entire time of your 4 years, unless you get hurt and end up taking a red shirt or something. You're going to spend your entire time there kind of traveling every other weekend or even every weekend in the spring sometimes. So it's a big commitment, because you're not just traveling. You've got 20 plus hours, 20, 25, 20 hours, or 20 hours a week of practice. So it's a big commitment. Not to mention that we stay on top of people with their grades. There's people checking on you. You got to go to study halls, especially as a freshman. So it's not an easy task to take on, but it can also help pay for your college, which is getting obnoxiously expensive. But if you're interested in running a college, you can always slide me a message. I can kind of help with that process or explain that process a little more. If there's somewhere you want to go, email the coach. If they don't respond, email them again. If they don't respond again, email them again. Eventually they will respond, or you'll find somewhere that you want to go for school. I always say, like, your junior year, and then this is stuff that I should have been better about. But your junior year, make a list of probably 20 schools that you might be interested in, and just start sending out all your information. There's questionnaires online that you can fill out really easily. There's no reason to ever pay for a recruiting service. That stuff is stupid. Coaches half the time just throw that stuff in the trash when they get them. They don't really do anything to, if you're good, college coaches will find you. There's no need to refer a recruiter. The best way to separate yourself out is to email the coach and update the coach often, and try to get in contact with the coach if you're on campus. Try to set up a meeting with them. So you've got to do stuff like that to separate yourself out, unless you're one of the best, 10 or 15 kids in the country. It's just hard. So being the one that is showing interest already, even if the coach doesn't respond to you, maybe 2 months later, you've sent them 3 or 4 emails, and they're scrolling through results, and you had a good meet, and they're like, they're trying to find a couple kids to recruit, looking at results, and they're like, oh, like that kid that finished third, like, I think he emailed us. He might already be interested. And so then your name already rings a bell, and they have something to associate you with. And versus like having to cold call somebody, I'll be like, hey, this is such and such from High Point University. Like, so that's an easier way to, get your name out there. But I could talk about that stuff all night long. But I digress. So I guess what I'll get back to real quick was something I found a little alarming. See if I can pull it up over on the Twitter. Some of you non-running nerds, this is probably going to go over your heads a little bit. I apologize. So I'll try to give a little backstory behind it. But hopefully you can click on that link. Okay, yeah, it just popped up now. All right, so earlier today, I noticed a video of Alberto Salazar talking to a group of what I do believe is high school kids at the high school national meet out there, or potentially one of the things that they have out there on the Nike campus, where some of the Nike coaches or Nike athletes at various times do like little presentations or group talks, and people pay or come by and listen or whatever. But anyways, Alberto, who has been under investigation from the USADA and WADA for about 2.5 years now, maybe 3 years, depending on exactly when the investigation started. We don't exactly know, because they've never really presented their findings. It's just something that's been in limbo for a really long time. I noticed he was giving a talk on trading, which I just found incredibly ironic, from somebody that has basically been known to try to skirt the rules. And many former athletes have come forward and spoken with USADA and WADA to kind of talk about it, is something as an athlete who has struggled at times in the sport to get over the hump and get to that next level and get into races and make a living at it. All of those guys out there in those groups that he coaches make very comfortable salaries and very comfortable money, have all the resources of Nike. And if you don't understand much about track and field, Nike kind of runs everything, not necessarily by design, but by where they put their money and who they sponsor. And, when they sponsor your own national governing body, it allows them to throw their weight around a little bit. So there's a little bit, obviously, a conflicts of interest there, which of course don't make a lot of sense, but hey, that's our sport and it's what you have to deal with. But I just find it ironic that, so many of these coaches love to tout the things that Alberto does. And certainly anybody that knows much about Alberto Salazar, he was a very, very good runner himself, but was very, very open, even in his own book about how he pressed the line with stuff in his own career. And so it's not incredibly surprising that when Nike gave him, loads of money to start a professional group with the sole purpose of making Olympic medalists, that he may be skirting the lines a little bit. Do I think that he's necessarily doing a lot of stuff that's as dirty as some of the stuff that we've seen in Russia, the stuff that we've seen coming out of Kenya and Ethiopia and Eritrea and that segment of the world? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of his athletes have also been beating those people who have been doing it. So I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. It just is suspicious, and we've never really heard the report. Nothing's ever happened. It's just kind of quietly gone away. It was recently again kind of in the press. Somebody that had Adam Goucher, who was part of one of the group of athletes that testified against him at one point in time, has said they think some sort of decision is coming at some point in time, but we've basically heard nothing for over 2 years. I mean, this was a story that was going around before the Olympic trials in 2016, and it's been over 2 years. And we know how WADA and some of these other governing bodies in the IAAF have been with positive tests and sweeping things under the rug and not letting things see the light of day for months or years at a time, even after having known about it after the fact. So it's certainly not surprising. And hell, maybe they're trying to figure out a way to just make it go away and think that maybe it will just go away if people just stop seeing it. People stop talking about it. But, there's going to be a lot of us that, keep talking about it, keep bringing it up. And I think more people in the running world need to, to bring those issues up and make us think about it when they are winning races. There's a reason why a lot of people aren't Galen Rupp fans at the end of the day. It's just true. It's just true. So, anyways, I thought that it was incredible that he was the one giving the talk to what was most likely a group of coaches and young adult athletes. I think it just sets a bad example about what this sport's about. And like I said, myself as somebody that struggled to kind of get over that hump for a long time, it would have been, I don't know how easy, because I've never actually tried to get my hands on it, but it would have been easy for me to think that I had to do that to succeed at it and to get over that hump, but I didn't. I very much kind of like the way that Nick Willis looks at it, because he knows that, Nick Willis is a 2-time medalist at 1,500 meters in the Olympic Games, 2008 and 2016. And he's sort of my hero right now, because he's like a whole 3 or 4 years older than me. So as long as he's still running and competing really well, it makes me, at almost 32 now, feel like that I can keep going. And when you're seeing somebody that's up to that age that's still succeeding at the shorter distances, it gives you some inspiration. And quite frankly, he's about honestly one of the only ones right now. But anyways, he knows that he has to race a lot of these guys all the time that aren't doing things the right way. But like he said, he knows that if he times things right, he has the coach that he believes 100% in, just like I have a coach that I believe 100% in, that they can hit it right for about 2 or 3 weeks a year. They can nail training so well and peak at just the right time that they can compete with those guys. And we all kind of, if you've been around track and field long enough, you know who the shady coaches are, you know who the shady groups are, you know the shady countries, and ours is included in that. We are by no means saints in this country. So it's not just, I'm not just talking about Russia or the East Africa or the Eastern Bloc countries in Europe. I mean, it's the United States is as guilty as the rest of us, or as the rest of them, at doing things that were illegal, making things go away, you name it. So that's my, I don't want to say that's my spiel, because I really didn't intend to talk about this, but microgreen kind of set me off on it tonight. But yeah, it's frustrating because the rest of us play by the rules. And I guess if we were all getting rich, like people in the NBA or in the NFL, where everybody was making a comfortable living, and people weren't having to do other things, and people could make honest careers of this and set themselves and their families up instead of having to penny pitch and work odd jobs to stay in the sport that they care so much about. And it's not just me. There's, you know, heck, one of the guys that coaches with me at High Point University, he's the pole vault coach there, Scott Houston. He is literally one of the best pole vaulters in the world. You're talking about one of the top 5 pole vaulters in the world. The dude made the U.S. world team last year, indoors. I mean, he is just one of the best pole vaulters in not just the United States, but in the world. And he has more problems than we have in distance running, and getting to meets and getting sponsorships, and having opportunities to just do his own sport. And it's sad. It's so sad. And when you see people that are skirting the rules and are doing things that hurt the spirit of the sport, they're hurting the people underneath them and robbing them of financial opportunities. So it makes some of us a little bitter, a little tarnished. And quite frankly, people talk, people know what's going on. We spend an awful lot of time together at these meets, the athletes, because we're stuck in hotel rooms together, stuck on shuttle rides together. You hang out, and people talk, people see what people take. See, you know, I'm very clear. People can come and raid my cabinets all they want, outside of little CPD oil and some iron supplements, because your boy's been anemic from all those immunotherapy treatments. That's all it takes to get me out the door. That and a lot of self-massage. But yeah, no, that's what it is. And so when you hear about people breaking the rules, it makes you mad. And it's, you know, I think if it was a sport like basketball or football or baseball, where everybody was getting a big piece of the pie, instead of some people getting a big piece and other people's, you know, getting a little piece. And that's how every sport is. And that's how the world operates. But it's like our pie is only so big. I know this is about the size of a pie for USA track and field. And, you know, the NBA is 18-inch large New York pizza compared to this. And so when only a few people get big pieces of a small pie, it doesn't leave a lot for the rest of us. And it used to make me really mad. It used to keep me up at night, but you know what? It's not going to stop me from doing it. It's not going to stop. I know there's a lot of other people doing it the right way. And a lot of them I consider friends and people that I have a lot of respect for. But you know, you are who you surround yourself with. So I'll leave it at that. Um, I'm not gonna fail a drug test because of anything that I take. Nobody's gonna have to uh, whisk me away or give me a workout so I don't have to go pee in a cup or whatever. So we'll just leave it all at that. Why won't we? Um, I digress. I don't even know where I was at or what I was oh planning on talking about tonight. But yeah, I did talk about some CBD products earlier. If anybody is interested, you can always shoot me a little message. I'll be happy to explain anything. And like I said, it is a reputable. The product that I take is a reputable product. It was started by a former professional distance runner, so I think that in of itself can speak for the company and what they stand for. And I'm transparent, to say the least. You can follow way too much of my stuff on my Instagram stories. Most of you know that, though. So it's almost Christmas time. We are, as we speak, less than 2 weeks away. I had to count. I couldn't remember what day it was. Getting tired. But no, we're 2 weeks away from the most wonderful time of year. Or I guess it technically is the most wonderful time of year, but we're 2 weeks away from the most wonderful day of the year. Been thinking a lot lately about my Christmas as a child, as a kid growing up, and just how exciting it was. Generally by this point, when you're inside the 2-week mark, it's just like sheer anxiety over the day almost. Looking back, you're just so excited to the point where you can't, that night or 2 nights before, you can't hardly get to sleep. Even though you made a list and you checked it twice, and your parents decide that you've been nice, even when you probably weren't. They love to spoil you with love and a few gifts on Christmas. It was just always, I don't know. I love this time of year, and it's gotten a little weird, I guess, in my older age, as I grow up, as family gets further. So there's not as many days together around the Christmas time. So everything feels really rushed. So you look forward to it, and just try to soak as much of it in as you can during that time. And I guess in thinking about it now as a 31-year-old, quasi semi adult, I guess I would be considered, definitely not a full-fledged adult. And as somebody that I don't have little kids, for to share the excitement of Christmas with them and get them excited, and all this kind of the superstition around it and everything with Santa Claus, and I don't know, all of it was just always really magical to me. And at times I certainly miss it, but I don't know, now it's different. And it makes you think about the holiday a lot different, I guess you would say. Because when you're a kid, it's so exciting to get stuff, because you're getting, for me, I was like always getting Star Wars toys and Batman toys. And later, when my parents finally allowed us to have video games when we were in like high school, you're getting like a video game, or somebody always gets a movie in our family, the movies that we love to watch over and over and over again. But Christmas morning was always so exciting, and the act of giving for my parents had to I had to be, and I guess probably hopefully still is, the act of giving on Christmas, I guess is what they say is it's all about. And I try to be now, because there's not, we're not kids and we're not getting a bunch of little like tiny toys and stuff and Legos and small things like that. You're just kind of giving one or two things to the people around you and the people that you care about. And I don't know, I try to do something and try to make sure that I'm giving something that I know people use, or people like, people enjoy, something people need or something people care about, or wish that they could have. And there seems to be a little bit more stress behind that now, I guess, than there was excitement, because you want to make sure that you're giving something that is meaningful. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's because I'm crazy, but that's just how I feel. And it makes me feel a certain way, and makes me just look at Christmas kind of a lot differently, and realize that, while I don't have huge financial resources to spoil people with, I try to give them something that lets them know that we care about them, or I care about them. Maybe I'm making up for being an asshole the other 364 days a year. That's probably it. But I don't know. It's got a much different feeling to it, than when you're a kid. And it's weird because then I kind of been thinking a lot about this, about how like as you get older, because like when you're a kid, getting a gift's nice, and certainly that getting something doesn't ever get old, as long as it's a good gift like socks. It never gets old, but like what brings a lot of joy to life is giving to something, and giving something to somebody else, giving to somebody you care about, giving something to somebody that doesn't have something. I've been thinking about that a lot this Christmas, because we by no means were super rich growing up or had a lot of money, but we certainly had presents under the Christmas tree on Christmas. And I know there's a lot of people, not just in this country, but people all over the world that don't have that opportunity. And I can't imagine the stress that is on people. And it's something that's kind of, you're always made aware of it at Christmas, whether it's the Salvation Army people standing outside of every store with the bell, taking up donations, or things like Operation Christmas Child, or the angel trees and stuff that churches or community centers have for people, to where you can come and make a box for a kid in need. And I don't know, it's weird that there's a holiday that's centered around giving all these presents and being a consumer and buying all these nice shoddy things, but then there's just all these people that are struggling to get through things. I mean, heck, there's people right now that can't even afford their medications every month to stay alive, and here we are at Christmas, and they're expected to give gifts. So it's I don't know, it's become something that's just kind of weird, but it doesn't change what Christmas morning will be. I will still wake up on Christmas. It doesn't change how I'll feel on that morning when I wake up. It doesn't change the time that I have with my family and what that time means for my family, and the interactions that we have and the memories that I have of it. But I certainly look at it a lot differently now. I think some for good, some for bad. Some of it seeing the waste and, I don't want to say greed of society. I'm not trying to harp on society or harp on something like Christmas, which is, like I said, because like I have such fond memories of it. And when I wake up on Christmas morning, I will be outside of whatever obnoxious workout my coach is probably going to give me, because it's a Tuesday and Tuesdays are workout days. Outside of having to get that out of the way, I'll probably just be thinking about that the entire time, honestly, as getting back home so I can open up presents. And it's I don't know. I think now, thinking about those moments and those things. So just if you've got the opportunity, because not everybody does, is basically, I think, what I'm trying to get at. I don't really know what I'm trying to get at. I'm not trying to take down Christmas. I don't think that, but I think it just means a lot of different things to a lot of people, and a lot of us are in situations where we can get things for our loved ones, and there's a whole lot of people around the world that can't. So I don't know. Just think about that while you're out. It was something I even thought about earlier. I honestly was so angry earlier at myself and because like I cracked my new phone because I was dumb and hadn't bought a case for it yet, and I was being lazy. And I just got it like 2 weeks ago or something, and I cracked it, dropped it. And it made me really mad, and I was like pretty upset with myself for being clumsy and stuff. But at the end of the day, I after about 30 minutes, I was like, why are you like, life is so good. And right now with everything that I'm getting to do, and I'm surrounded by amazing people and I'm having an amazing time, why am I going to let something like a crack on a phone destroy my evening, destroy my time with people that I care about? When there's people, like I said, I hear every day about people that can't afford their medications, or people that can't, or are trying to figure out how to make ends meet. And I've certainly been one of those people. So I needed to take a freaking chill pill. But yeah, I probably just got way too much time to think. That's honestly what it is. And way too much time to be around and see all. I spend too much time on the internet, basically, or too much time around town, just seeing but being bombarded with all this stuff. And I don't know, when you got time when you're out on runs to think about a lot of this stuff, it just kind of, I don't know, it's weeded its way into my conscious. And I just wanted to share that with all y'all. So if you're not, I know there are some of you that are out there that do wonderful things for the people that you care about, or people in need. But let's think about some of those, or think about the people that, maybe don't have it as well off as most of us, even though most of us might be struggling. There's always people that are worse. So with that, I don't know much where there is to go, because I feel like it's just kind of like jump down a cliff now, which is not really how I intended that conversation to go. But it's what I've been thinking about, and that's what this podcast is all about. Zach Stone, what up? Take care of that foot, man. Take care of that foot. Zach's an athlete of mine. Heck, I'll tell this real quick. Anybody that's kind of got something nagging you, because I was talking about aches and pains earlier or whatever, with the CBD oil stuff. One big fan of a change that I've made over the last couple of years is when I've got like a foot that's hurting, or a calf that's bothering me, or whatever, outside of like rolling it out, or seeing a massage therapist, or a physical therapist, or whoever you see to do body work, or help you get back out there. Or if you can't get to those things, or don't have a good one around, maybe I like the hot, cold, hot combo on something. I just recommended that to Zach. I realize that's something that not a lot of people know about, but if you've got something that's bothering you, I'm more of a fan of the hot, cold, hot, or the cold, hot, cold, really to kind of have the best of both worlds, because both cold and heat can release anti-inflammatory properties. So it kind of helps give you the best of both worlds. Plus, theoretically, and this is all theoretical, create that pumping motion when when you heat something up, you get vasodilation, you bring a lot of blood flow to the area, which is what you want. When something's injured, you want blood there, because blood is what's going to bring the things in your bloodstream that are going to fix the damaged tissue. So you want to promote that. So we bring some of that in there. Then we use some cold to help reduce the inflammation in the area. Then maybe we bring it back in, some repair stuff with the heat, or vice versa. Science didn't really super nailed that stuff down yet, but the cold, hot, cold combo, I think is a great combination, um, for all of you to try if you've got anything that's aching, whether it's a foot or your hip, your IT band, something your foot's easy to do. You can put 2 bowls on the ground. You can fill one with hot water, fill one with basically ice and a little bit of water, because you're a savage and you're not going to let a little cold hurt you. I will say going from the cold foot into the hot is really hard. Your foot's going to ache or whatever you're sticking in there. It's like when you come inside from the cold, like a lot of us have been doing right now because they're still all over the ground. And everything kind of opens up and all your blood vessels start to get life again. It kind of aches a little bit. So yeah, it's I think a great tool that a lot of people don't utilize. So cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot combination. Give it a try if you got something that's hurting. Otherwise, I think that's a great way to leave you. If anybody else has got any questions about that CBD product, because I know that was a hot topic early on in the podcast. This is the product I use. The people there have hooked me up with a discount code. If you want to enter BHUDGE10 at checkout, it does give you 10% off of that product. Heck, if you log on to that website, you might recognize somebody on there. Probably not me. There's some other famous people in that picture. Mainly my boy GC, your boy Graham Crawford, and some guy with a mustache that looks really weird. Like he's from Mississippi or something. But anyways, you guys have been great. It's been another fantastic week. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for being interactive. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this journey. You all are just special, special people. And I love you guys. And you know that. But it's Christmas time and we all should be excited. Contrary to what I just riffed about. It is an incredible time of year to spread love and joy and share it with the people that you care about the most. So find time to do that. Otherwise, you know where you can catch me. We'll be back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Till next time, guys, go out into the world and read and learn and have conversations that are tough sometimes because it's how we learn. It is how we learn. Till next week, guys. Love you.